I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the Town of Brunswick Planning Board for April 4th, 2024. If everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our agenda this evening is pretty long, so I'm going to review that right now. First on our agenda is the Park East Ventures amendment to site plan. Applicant seeks to amend a previously approved site plan application to expand an existing building and construct a staging area on property located at 1173 Hoosick Road at the intersection of Brick Church Road. Capital East Ventures Incorporated is the applicant. Number 2 is the Haas site plan. Applicant seeks to construct metal buildings for self-storage on property along Hoosick Road and Carroll's Grove Road. Justin Haas. Haas is the applicant. Number 3, Riser minor subdivision. Applicant seeks a minor subdivision approval to subdivide 1.44 acres from 4.66 acre parcel to create a new building lot on property located on Tibush Lane. Henry Riser is the applicant. Number 4, Lamar, amendment to site plan. Applicant seeks to amend a previously approved site plan in order to expand a building and add an additional parking on property located at 1632 Hoosick Road. Nicole Lamar is the applicant. Number 5, Fario, applicant to amendment to a special use permit. Applicant seeks to amend a previously approved special use permit in order to allow for on-site pickup of purchased firearms on property located at 502 Pinewoods Avenue. Zachary Fario, am I pronouncing that right?
Close enough.
Okay. Applicant. Number 6, Nato Pato, special use permit and site plan. Applicant seeks approval to store equipment on property located at 287 Oakwood Avenue. Nato LLC is the applicant. Okay, our first, and then there's also possibly to review new applications. Our first agenda item is to review the minutes of our past meeting on March 21st. Is there any comments or anything? I did notice one correction I think that has to be made on page 3. The extension of the first paragraph there. There's reference to Chairman Clementi and Chairman Clementi twice. And that's it. Is that?
That will correct.
Okay. It should be obviously Chairman Stanford. Any other corrections or additions to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as they are been amended. Do I have a second?
Awesome.
Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving along to our agenda items. Number 1 is the Park East Ventures amendments to site plan. Is there anybody here for that? Because I received the copy of the review of the engineering review from Ron LaBerge, and I don't think that they got that in adequate time. That was dated April 1st, and as a side note, Ron LaBerge had a death in the family. His father passed away, so I think he's tied up for a few days with family matters there. So I believe that they received this, but they obviously didn't have enough time to review it. So I would like to put them on our agenda for our next meeting, which is April 18th. Any comments on that? Is there anybody okay with that? Okay. Moving along. So they're adjourned to April 18th. Number 2 is the Haas site plan. Is anybody here for that? Okay, there was a note that they possibly would not be here, that they didn't have the engineering changes on their plans complete. Is that correct, Wayne?
I did speak to the engineer doing that plan. And they're working on updating the plans in response to the ZBA's comments.
Okay.
They said something to me about the stormwater and how they weren't going to finalize that until they got a decision from the ZBA before they went into detailed design.
Okay, so we're pretty much at the mercy now of the ZBA as far as scheduling. And when's the next meeting for the ZBA?
15th.
15th, so they could,
Possibly, the public hearing is still open on that application.
okay. So we can't do any action anyway. Should we put them on the agenda for the 18th? Or
Possibly,
tentatively?
We
tentatively.
did tentatively and then
Okay,
we have enough to present.
all right. Okay, next on our agenda, we're moving through this quite well. Is the Riser minor subdivision.
I have to recuse myself.
Okay, duly noted.
Good evening.
Good evening. Now, according to our last minutes, I wasn't here at that meeting. There was some requests to locate the well and in relation to the septic system. But I'm not sure whether the amendment, there seemed to be some question in the building department whether what we wanted was actually done on the map. Can you kind of go over that with us?
Well, when we read the minutes after the last meeting, we had Brian go up and locate the well of previously Frank Bush's home, which would be lower than the proposed septic system. And you can see on the new map at the end that there's somewhere along over the 200 feet. And we assume that that was the well that you were talking about. Because,
Well, the other two wells are already indicated on the
right,
drawing.
the well for the original Bush home is already on the map, and the new proposed well is on the 1.44 acre lot.
So the one you're talking about is actually the owns adjacent Lockville. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's the one that you put on here?
Yeah, that also, we changed the name. It was previously Frank Bush, was on the last map, so we updated that also during the meeting.
Okay. Now, that was a question you had on that?
I think Linda brought it up, but it was a valid point
Okay,
that the well was, downslope from the proposed septic, and we just wanted to see how far away it was.
okay.
If you were up against the property line or something.
Right.
All right. So all the proposed, there's an old septic system, there's another one on the property. All the wells measure up to, well, it looks like almost 200 feet on all of them, for the septic systems at least. So I would say that requirement is satisfied.
That'll likely get reviewed by county health when they go in for,
Yeah, the proposed area where it shows right now is most likely gonna be back further where it's behind the house, where it shows the 1.44 on the map, which makes it even further away from everything. But, like I said, it's just a proposed spot. Once the health department gets in there and, we'll have to show the exact locations of everything.
Okay. I have one question. This is a minor subdivision. It seems to me like all the particulars are on the plat. The only question I have is the remaining 3.22 acres, does that need to be shown in entirety?
should be.
Should be?
Well, if that's part of the subdivision, it should be. The boundary of that lot should be on the map.
Okay. Can that be done in the insert? Or do they have to actually have a larger map?
I mean, this will have to be filed in the clerk's office. And I think the whole property should be shown on the plat. Brian says put it on a bigger sheet of paper.
I mean, he might have it, but does he have the whole plot?
I'm not sure if it does have the whole plat. When they last did the lot line adjustment in, I think, 2020, it just pretty much showed exactly what's here.
Okay,
In that. I'm not sure if he has it or not. I'm not sure if it will fit, even on the, well, on the big map it is, because it is 3.5 acres.
And it's a survey, so you must have that, at least the boundary line.
As far as I know, he never surveyed the other parcel, which is the 3.22. All that was done was that lot line adjustment was done. And I got the original survey map from 2022, and it's basically the exact same map, with the exception of having the line drawn through, and drawing through the property.
yeah, but back then, that was a waiver. The requirements for a waiver, requirements now for a minor subdivision are expanded out. You need the whole parcel, the 3.22 acres to show on the drawing.
So now, if I go and I get the original, survey map from, it would be 38 years ago, with that piece of paper.
We're gonna need it on the plan and file, so it's not a problem. You know, we'll be able to get to.
What I'm saying is, I don't believe Brian was my surveyor back then,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have it, but, I mean, it should be filed, because, like I said, 38 years ago was when I bought the property. Actually, it was 40 years ago. And, I had it all surveyed at that time, because there was 106 acres. And we subdivided it into 3 parcels. I bought 2, and Mr. Tarbox bought the 3rd parcel.
Okay. So you can go ahead and put that probably without.
So just to clarify, in order, because it's a subdivision, it has to show the entire parcel that you're subdividing, even last one.
Correct.
Okay.
Now the question I have, is there any other questions or any other issues on this map here? Does anybody have any more?
The only other thing I saw was the spelling of Stuart Palmer. Should be Stuart.
You see that, Henry?
Yeah.
Okay, now the question I have, this has to have a public hearing,
Yes.
and would the information we have here be complete enough to schedule a public hearing, or would we have to wait until the full survey of the plat indicating on the drawing?
In my opinion, this would be adequate to at least schedule a public hearing.
Okay,
Couldn't act on this plat, but it's adequate to schedule a public hearing.
all right.
I have to make sure with Brian, I think if we can schedule it, that'd be great. But I'll just have to see if he has to do any site work to get the subdivision.
Okay,
I think that we should go to
You're not making any improvements to John's property. It's just,
it's the first meeting.
short boundary.
It's, second.
I mean, if we were to schedule a public hearing tonight, the earliest one we could do would be May 2nd, the first meeting in May. Could we require 4 weeks to do the thing? So in the meantime, that should give you enough time to get a full, map. So I'd like to do that if it's okay with the board, just to get some of these public hearings going. Does anybody have a problem with what you were suggesting? I agree with Andy. I think there's enough, the application is complete enough to be able to present to make available to the public for a public hearing. So we will schedule it. Do you think we should schedule them to come back and present the plat if it's available at our next meeting or not?
I think, in my opinion, it would be adequate just to have it filed. And
Okay.
any questions the board had, you can raise it.
Okay. All right, so we'll schedule a public hearing for this on May 2nd. And in the meantime, if you could get with Brian and get all those things taken care of, so we have those now current drawings available for the public hearing.
Okay,
All right?
sounds good, thanks.
All right.
yeah, well, but
Anyway, folks, number 4 on our agenda. Okay, we're already done. For the record, before you start, you are now back on attending our meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And this is the Brunswick Animal Hospital site plan, correct?
yes,
Okay. So what do you have for us tonight?
my name is Paul Rivera. I'm the basic engineering. I'm here representing Nicole Mora for the Brunswick Animal Hospital site plan amendment. The project is located at 1632 Deerfield 7 in Brunswick. We're here tonight we're proposing an addition of 1,982 square feet on the existing building. Bringing the building from 3,484 feet to 5,456 feet. We plan to add some parking, approximately 15 stalls. I know the plan, there's a slight error. It's 38 stalls, however, only 31 is required. We're here tonight to answer any questions you have.
And then respectfully ask you to move the project forward as you see fit. I did know, Mike from our office contacted you about the drainage. Are we expecting a formal letter from you, comments and stuff, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put together a letter. I was waiting to see what, Mike came back with.
He's in the middle of it, he'll have it probably, this week. Would you rather him submit that directly to you first before you formulate this letter, or?
I can start putting together comments and then,
You just wanna miss anything you had, or?
yeah, depending on what Mike comes back with.
Okay. Does anybody have any, questions at this point?
They do an ag data statement on that, or?
Yes, he did, yes. I believe it's already done, yes. Yeah, we got that done. This has to go before, is there any involvement with DOT on this?
No, you're not doing any additional.
No, we're not changing the curb cuts or anything,
Okay.
that's all we're trying to say.
And we have to notify, the Rensselaer County, okay, we have to do. Has the fire company visited you yet, or have you?
We've not, we can.
Okay. All right. Do you have any comments at this point, Wayne?
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
You're adding catch basin 4, off the corner of the proposed addition.
Yes.
You're running your roof leaders into that line. Is that,
I believe there's gonna be downspouts, but yes, it will eventually get to that part, that will get to that, yes.
would you consider, discharging that into that existing catch basin in the corner of the parking lot? Instead of,
We could, I believe there's an elevation difference, but that'll be handled with the analysis we're doing. currently.
I'd like to see the flows and. Over in the new parking area, there's an island.
Yes.
That's a curved island.
Just grass. Yes.
Okay. You have a 12-inch ABS running under it. You don't really have a good cover.
A little shelly, it'll be grass, there's no curb. It's anything else.
It's just kind of like a demarcation. It's a white pole that's in the center of it.
Yeah.
What type of fixture is that?
It would be probably most likely dark sky compliant, LED, you know, interesting. I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe the office is open too late at night.
16 is late, crazy. Staff sometimes there till 7.
In the winter time.
So most of the winter time.
That existing 24-inch storm, you say it's to be lowered, you're gonna replace that, right?
Yes.
That's impossible.
Yes.
You got it. Make it lower. Those are most of my questions, and the plans are pretty comprehensive. There's a lot of information that's in the site plan package, so I have everything I need. Once I get, calculations on the stormwater. We'll review.
Okay.
I would say the next week.
Just a quick question. How big is the actual parcel, the parcel?
9.66 acres.
Okay.
That would be-
Got a little ahead of myself, it's right there, yeah. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay. All right, I believe these plans should be sent to the local fire company. What would that be? That would be what? Would that be Center Brunswick? And with that, they'll review them and then we'll make suggestions as far as what they would require or request.
Yep, I'll reach out tomorrow.
Okay. Other than that, you're gonna be doing the review on that and, the stormwater,
Analysis, yes.
that'll be done.
It's gotta go to county.
Yes, it does.
Is it complete enough to send to county?
I think it is. I think you should send that down to the county. We'll get that going.
And then a public hearing?
So this is an amendment to a site plan, and recall site plan public hearings are at the option of the board, not mandatory. You have traditionally done public hearings for projects on and along Route 7. My recollection is it was a public hearing on the first project, but it's within your discretion.
Okay. So we could, entertain some, comments on that. I mean, it's, we don't traditionally we do, on Route 7 particularly.
Some of the factors for the board to consider is the extent of the proposed amendment, whether you think that would be a significant change to the project site. These are some things boards take into consideration.
Well, the site is, it's over 9 acres, so it's not like we're trying to jam something into something that we shouldn't be. So, I don't have a problem with, not having require a second public hearing.
Yes, I'd like to hear what Mr. Krieger has to say.
I don't have a problem with it. No public hearing.
How about you, Kevin?
I agree.
Okay. So as of right now, we will not require a public hearing, but obviously has to be the engineering review on that.
Technical comments.
And, I don't know what, you think that'd be available for the applicant within 2 weeks?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, once I get, there's not a lot of other comments. That was really, most of the comments was the stormwater.
Okay.
We'll do that next week and then, we'll be in touch.
We have to get the stuff down to the county 10 days
Next meeting on
prior.
the 18th?
Yes.
The only issue is, Mike is correct, that we do need to get the county's recommendation back
Right.
before the board can act. You can certainly move forward with your.
Is it typical for them to come back in 2 weeks, or is that, we were seeing 3-4 weeks for them?
They're required to do it in 30 days. I believe.
Right.
Because we don't want to waste your time either, so if they're gonna take
Correct.
4 weeks, we might as well skip the next meeting and then. Sometimes they do it in a week, sometimes they do it in 3 weeks.
Right, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
like I said, we don't want to waste your time either.
Yeah.
All right. we
Well,
can-
one thing for the board to consider is, adequate time for Wayne to review, adequate time for the county to review. You could put it on for 2 weeks, you could put it on for your first meeting in May. That's at the discretion of you.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would put it on for next one, if we were going to go with a public hearing, because then the public hearing would be the second week in May. So, I'm okay with putting it out to the first meeting in May, the 2nd of May. That way, everything will be done. Hopefully, we'll get the response back from Western County, and we can move forward a lot quicker.
That also gives you time to
Respond to comments you
change,
have.
right, to respond to comments.
Is that okay with you?
I'm just trying to get this built by winter, so the faster we can do it, the better.
We're
I'm trying to
working
get both
we're working
those in by the
on it.
winter.
We can do it in 2 weeks if you guys get all the stuff there.
Well, he had-
Possible, but we don't control the county.
we don't control the county. They could get it all done and then 2 weeks, we don't have a response back from the county. Then we gotta put it to the next meeting.
Is it possible to put it on in 2 weeks and then move it if we don't have all those documents? Or is that an inconvenience?
Within your discretion.
Tentatively?
Tentatively. We can put the tentatively to the 18th. If we don't get a response by a date of, the 16th or 17th, we'll just tell you we're gonna put you on for the next one. If we don't have a
We'll
response.
be in contact with finance.
Okay, all right, then, we'll put you on.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. All right. Okay. Jack, you're next.
How's it going?
Good. Do you have anything new for us?
No, if you need, I can certainly kind of recap the whole situation, but, no news. I submitted everything.
Okay, I was on at the last meeting, obviously. Well, I do have to, I just want to clarify a couple of things regarding your business and how you conduct it and so forth and so on.
Absolutely.
Right now, when we approve this special use permit, it was that you purchased firearms, ammunition, accessory items, scopes, and so forth and so on. And then you used a brick and mortar store to do the background check and the final paperwork. Is that correct?
100% correct. Yep. Whether it's someplace in New York or I've shipped to most states now. to be honest with you.
Okay. The way I understand it, through a conversation we had, that's becoming more and more difficult because the brick and mortar people are basically probably saying that you're taking business away from that.
Yeah, fun fact, one guy owns almost all of the Capital District. He owns like 90%.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, were you able to do background checks? Or that was not part of your licensing?
Like, I have the ability to do them, but because no one can come to my house, there's no point. The background, whoever actually turns over the firearm or now, because there's new laws, ammunition, is the one that's responsible for doing that form, the 4473 form, which is the background check. So while I could do them, I've never had to because no one's ever been to my house to pick up the firearm.
That is not done by the FBI anymore, it's done by New York State.
Correct, and that's a big part of the reason. Everything that came along with that really kind of pushed this into like being a necessity. I haven't sold anything in New York since that happened. Can't.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't have the,
Because no one can come to yet. And also another fun fact, Zach Froyo and Freedom Arms USA are two separate entities, so I can't even sell them myself.
Okay. All right, and I am correct that now even the sale of ammunition, you need to have to do a background check also.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And just to review a couple of things, you don't stock anything, correct?
I mean, outside of what I actually own.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guns that will be like firearms that are either waiting for customer to pick up. Same thing with ammo, but it's not like I have a store. I've got one gun safe.
You don't maintain a stock of,
Correct. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Correct. I don't have a display, and I never will. Have a display case. There's nothing that people can come in and look at. Nothing like that. No.
Okay, now if you go online, you can buy firearms, from a variety of, nationwide, uh, distributors and so forth and so on. How do they handle selling a firearm to a New York State resident, say in Troy? Do they have to go through the brick and mortar people?
Yep, 100%. So that's how it's always been. Even before all the.
So you're basically an internet business.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
So why is there push on you by the brick and mortar people? Just because you're local?
Yeah, because I'm local. So I have to mail everything to them, and they see, oh, this came from 5 minutes down the road. And then they, also I have to call them up and get approval for that, and send them my FFL. And they see exactly where it's coming from. And eventually now what they say is, the only way we'll allow it is if we are no longer able to get that firearm, which that's a very.
Yeah, that's a loose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the state doesn't have any requirement on non-compete clause or anything.
No. In fact, the only person who will do it in the area now is actually another at-home. I thought that was Petersburg. But, Petersburg is 15, 20 minutes away. If someone's in like Delmar or something, it's 40 minutes away from them. So that's quite the haul. And it's also a little awkward when it's me transferring it to them for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, let's have some questions. I'm gonna ask some questions on the actual amendment that you wanna have one customer per day? Is that?
I mean, I would take per day, but in reality, I worked with my ATF agent to kind of put all this together, because he did say this is actually a very common occurrence with at-home FFLs. The towns don't want increased traffic. They don't want signs. So what we recommend is you have one customer a day or one customer a week, however many a week, and that way you never got more than one person there. You don't have people. I mean, my driveway is a couple hundred feet long anyway, but you're not going to have a bunch of cars in your driveway. And I thought that maintained the intent of the Brunswick bylaws as well. I thought that was a pretty good recommendation. I think in my actual formal application, I asked for 1 week. I would be okay with that. The amount of business I do in New York is just for friends and family, and myself. The most recent sale was actually in Massachusetts, and I can send stuff over there, no problem. Those FFLs don't know me. If they see it coming from a different state, they don't care. I just call, I get their FFL, I send them mine. That's pretty much the end of it.
All right.
Yeah.
So you would be content with one customer per week? I misquoted.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you wanted to say one a day, I'm certainly not going to say no, but no, I mean, it's friends and family. My wife can't even.
Well, one of the things I'm trying to avoid is you say one per week, and say all of a sudden things turn around for you, your business grows, and all of a sudden you're doing more business locally, and
Yeah, you don't want to see me say nothing.
then all of a sudden you go, well, I can sneak two in, and I mean, I'd much rather just be right up front about it, and say, okay, we'll allow, one a day or whatever
Yeah.
during the business week or something like that. I have no idea, but it's just a thought.
Yeah.
Obviously, you haven't heard comments from the rest of the board.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is, when I first showed up here, this was step number 1 of the entire process. One of the steps just before I got my FFL was like a 6-hour-long interview where they come to my house and make sure everything, and not only these documents, but my documents to them was true, and they run through pretty much my entire life. And he actually brought it up that day. So I've known about this for well over a year, But one of the big reasons I waited on coming here was because I wanted to make sure nothing changed. And then also I heard about the stuff coming up with the door, for the sweeping laws that they wanted to do. So my goal was also, to make this my last time you guys have to see me. But yeah, I mean, I would be extremely grateful if you guys do, do one a day, or, he said what typically what he sees is they do 3 a week, but they can't be on the same day. So anything along those lines, I'm, more than grateful for.
All right. Let's, I don't think there's any traffic issues involved.
Right, yeah.
And I don't think there's any, situation where you have somebody coming to your house for firearms or ammunition. They already have a permit
Yes,
and you have already done the background check on it.
yeah,
So a person just can't come off the street and say, I'm gonna go to Freedom Firearms and see what
so that's the other thing, and I think I have it in there, by appointment only.
okay.
So no one can just show up at my house. It's by appointment only. They have to call schedule, and that obviously also will help me maintain the one day, or 1 week.
Yeah.
If there's no walk-ins. And the best part is the ATF monitors it. Like, they check in on my books, so they'll see, they can easily see if there was more, multiple on the same calendar day, or multiple with the same week, whatever we decide, the ATF.
They monitor, okay, that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, I figured.
How is it monitored?
Yeah, the ATF does that, and there's no second chances with the ATF. If they check my books and they're not exactly per, what's allowed inside my, my permit, they're just gonna yank it.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the board, the original application for the amendment was to allow one customer per week. Would anybody, be against expanding it out to 3 a week? Not on the same day? I'm just looking ahead, I mean, I'm saying.
I appreciate it. I
I
really appreciate it.
mean, if you're gonna, but if you decide to do that, you're gonna have to resubmit a new application for the special use permit with all the correct things.
That's okay.
Anybody have any questions?
Did we have hours of operation last time? Oh,
Yeah, it was submitted somewhere, and, because there was no, customers, it was
Right.
really kind of more of a formality, but I believe it was Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But again, I've never had anyone at my house for this business. So that was really just a formality. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be 100% by appointment only.
Okay.
Looks like it says Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a federal license?
Yes, sir.
You have a state license, New York State license?
So New York State is actually one of the only states that requires an additional license to sell handguns, but I ended up getting that too. So I've got an FFL and a New York State dealer's license.
And then how are the background checks handled?
So up until September, it was NICS, which was the FBI. Then New York State passed a bunch of laws saying, well, now you got to do backgrounds on ammo checks, on ammo purchases too. And NICS pretty much told me, no way, like it's going to bog down our system. So New York State created a new background check system that's run by the New York State Troopers, which I'm not even signed up for because I haven't been able to do that, but obviously that would be step number one after this if approved.
So you would do the background checks through the state troopers?
Yes, sir. Yep.
You said you got a gun safe.
Yeah.
How many guns how big a safe you got?
depends on the size, but it's usually 6 to 8.
Are you handling handguns?
Yep. I mean, right now, the only one I've got 2, one for my wife, when I can hopefully transfer it over to her, and one for myself, when I can hopefully transfer it over to me, and then the ones that I personally own from before the FFL.
And what about assault rifles?
I don't have any right now. The only ones that I had were like New York State legal ARs that, I had pre-FFL, because now New York State actually requires a semi-automatic license. So not anyone can go out and buy a semi-automatic.
Right, and you don't have that license?
No, I do.
You do have that
Yeah,
license?
I have all the licenses. The only thing I can't sell is, I believe they call them destructive devices, which are basically military weapons.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, so all civilian style weapons, whether it's an AR or a Ruger 1022, they're both semi-automatic rifles, and pull trigger once, 1 round comes out. A military style weapon you'll be able to switch from semi-automatic to 3-shot burst or fully auto. Can't do any of that. And then there's also like rocket launchers, grenades, stuff like that. Don't have that license.
Okay.
But just about any pistol that you could go and find in any normal gun store, I can sell.
And then does the state police come and inspect your home?
I haven't set up anything with them, just because I wasn't allowed to do any checks. But I was told that is, it's the process. The ATF told me that. But that's, once I get all registered there, they come and they take a look at everything.
Right.
Also, as far as I know you're asking about safes, I have cameras and sensors everywhere. I've got one of the safest houses in Brunswick, that I can promise you.
I know we went through an extensive process when you first were issued the special use permit, involving, deliveries and so forth and so on, how they were handled and everything like that. This amendment to this is strictly to have a customer come to your house. There's no other. Okay.
Yeah, and deliveries are the same. Anything that's labeled to Freedom Arms USA, even if it's a scope, it requires my signature. There's no one, I know a big concern was porch pride. It's what if the guy, for whatever reason, doesn't require a signature? We've been here almost 2 years, so it's never been an issue. I've had to sign for anything that comes for Freedom Arms.
Okay.
If I'm not there, they just leave a little sticky note with time and date that they're there and the time that they can come back. And I go and I sign for it and off to the races.
Okay. So now I basically have to just do an informal poll here. Is there any issues with allowing the applicant to increase this to 3 customers per week by appointment only?
Yep.
And I'd stress that would be put on.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
So he would have to change his application. He would probably submit a new one, I would assume. Is that correct? Do we?
Well, technically, an amended one is paid as application. He would simply amend the application.
Okay. All right. There's no additional fee for that, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Okay, now the other thing is we did have a public hearing
Yes,
in the last one.
Yep.
We are required to have a public hearing on amendment of special use permit?
Right, special use permits and subdivisions require the public hearing. The only discretionary is the site plan. So this requires the public hearing.
Okay, so we're gonna have to schedule a public hearing. Once again, it's gonna be 4 weeks out. And, we already have one scheduled for, May 2nd. That would be at 7:00. We can schedule the second one at, 7:15 on May 2nd. However, I would require that you immediately submit a new corrected application.
Yep.
All right? Does anybody have any other questions? Is everybody clear on what we're doing here? We're allowing the applicant to increase to 3 customers per week by appointment only. And we are scheduling the public hearing for May 2nd. All right, I guess we're all set?
Thanks, guys, I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And yours is scheduled for 7:15?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, last on our agenda is Mato Pato special use permit and site plan. I do not see Mr. Miller here. Do you have any information on that, Michael?
No, I left him a message after the last meeting. Okay.
Said that he wouldn't be here tonight, and that he's still working with CT Mail on, looking into, the environmental conditions of the site and what the limits are and what the current status of that portion of the site is.
Okay. Now, I had a discussion yesterday in the building department about the actual special use permit allows for storage of equipment and sales. And that would be a determination of whether the application fits those requirements by the building department. Was there any decision made on that? Did Mr. Murley say what involved in sales, whether there was going to be sales?
I haven't talked to him, no, and I know Chuck was out today, so unless he called Chuck's cell phone, I haven't heard anything.
All right. Well, do you understand what we're
Yep,
going here with that?
with the sales
You're going to have to determine whether it fits the special use
Criteria.
requirement,
Mhm.
and then forward it to then the formal processes to come before us. So, when we decide that, let Mr. Murley know and discuss it with Mr. Murley. And decide what, he's gonna sell, whether it fits the criteria. Did I get that all correct, Andy?
Right. It's simply a building department determination as to whether the proposed use complies with allowable uses within that zone. If the
Okay,
building department determines yes, the application can proceed in front of your board. Building department determines no, then the matter ends at this board and the property owner can pursue whatever remedy he chooses.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna schedule him for an agenda at this point. So, until that's been determined, please let us know. So it's gonna be adjourned without date at this point. Okay, that concludes our regular agenda.
Does Tybush need to go to Ken?
No, in Rensselaer County, they don't review subdivisions.
Is there any new business, new applications, Mike?
Nope.
Okay, there's no new business. Any old business?
One clarification on that file, Doug, you want to allow them to do 3 per week, going 1 any given day, right?
I think that was the discussion, maximum of 3 per week, no more than 1 per day.
I think we ought to add that to the note.
Okay,
That'll be reflected in the minutes, so.
okay.
Someone may might have reached out to him so that the application form is filled out that way.
Okay.
He seemed to be okay with that.
Yeah. I just, just as a comment, I just think once a week, there's gonna be a, situation where you're gonna be back to us. And, then you're gonna go 2 weeks, and there is a traffic issue if you're only talking one customer a week. I don't think, so, that's my opinion anyway. Any other old business?
I had a question on the riser. There's an abandoned septic field. There was a trailer there. Was there a well with that septic field?
I recall seeing a well on one of the times I looked at.
I didn't see
Near the
it.
barn, right? Isn't there
Yeah,
a
but
well?
I didn't see it on the map. I just didn't. He had a trailer there when he first got married. Well, it was just a field. And he had a trailer here, but I don't.
Is there a well right in front of the barn?
What's that?
I thought there was a, I thought maybe there was one there, but.
What about abandoned, did they record abandoned septic systems in the health department?
We do, they make you smash in the septic tank. and,
Fill it in with dirt, whatever.
I don't know, if you think it's an issue with this, minor? I don't think it is.
I don't think
That
it's an
property now is becoming part of John's property. Right, that part of the subdivision, include that
Yeah,
parcel.
That's how he kept the barn. He had to join it to his existing land, but if there's a well there, I would think it, I mean, I'm not part of the, I'm recluse, but I would think the well should be, if there's a well there, it ought to be on the map, right?
Yeah, one map, I swore I saw a well there, and then the last map, well, maybe,
It may be because it's abandoned,
perhaps.
perhaps.
That's a process to fill one in, and it's not.
Fill it, they usually ask you to fill it in with that night.
I can say something to John about it.
It basically just
That one.
seals off.
What's that?
The bed night just seals off the opening into the fracture.
Right. I'll ask John.
do you know if, when we got a corrected copy of the, Rod Michaels drawing for the other riser project?
they were talking to them today, her and Bill Bradley.
Okay,
I think they straightened most of those issues out, so
but she hasn't
I don't think she
No, that
received
is-
it, no.
okay, all right. So there is no drawings or anything that we have to sign tonight?
No.
Okay, just reviewing the potential agenda for our next meeting. We have the Park East Ventures. We have tentatively the Haas site plan. We have the Amara amendment to site plan. And that should be it, unless Silas comes in or something like that. And then we have 2 public hearings scheduled for May 2nd. The first one at 7 o'clock is for the Riser Minor subdivision. And the second one is at 7:15, the Ferrio amendment to the special use permit. I will contact him tomorrow just to clarify the, 3 a week, but no 1 per day. thing that we discussed.
There's no place to move it here. So,
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, I don't know of anything else. It's-
Only to this extent, there was discussion about the need to come back to this board to go through additional subdivision review, and that was confirmed, but since that time, and that was a handful of weeks ago, I'm not sure anything's come into account.
Didn't, Marie's Hughes want to come in on the 18th also?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that they do have their comments for DOT and they wanted to know. They sent me an email the other day. They haven't confirmed, but I believe they do want to be out for the 18th.
Okay, we'll put them on the 18th.
Have they submitted any revised drawings? Like changes to Chesney Ave or their entrance?
Not that I know of. This is just for the analysis with the Lord Ave and Hoosick Street.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, I believe at the upcoming town board meeting next Thursday, that the CDTC,
CITC now.
yeah, is now going to give their
I'm going to give
final.
a presentation on the final report for the Hoosick Street corridor
Corridor.
study.
So, if you're interested, you're not doing anything next Thursday night, you might want to join that meeting.
We'll be putting that on the website that was set up for the corridor study.
Yeah,
So the whole final 1,000-page appendix will be on there for review and pleasure.
1,000 pages.
It's a lot.
Okay,
Who read the email?
I don't even read novels 1,000 pages. I lose interest.
A lot of pages.
Will that be available at the town?
They are going to provide some hard copies
Before Thursday or?
the hard copies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. They'll probably have it available to the town board. And the town board will decide whether they have to pass a resolution and accepting the final report or not.
That's not up to them. Anything else from you?
Just with Marie's Muse, the only thing the Lord Ave is they wanted to look at the signal timing. That was it, so the coordination came in between Light and Chestnut.
In the Lower Avenue? What about the one in between them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, there wasn't, for some reason, there's not a problem with that one. I don't know.
Well, that's triggered by demand, isn't it? Whatever they call it, that's triggered by traffic that comes up out of the price chart.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
You're not sure either?
Not sure either.
I think it used to be.
I think in the morning you can sit there quite a while,
Yeah, but there's nobody coming out of Price Chopper, you can see it, that light up.
Okay.
even if you're in price, if you're in Price Chopper, singing, you can wait for a while. If the green light on music
I
is.
think they're all timed. I think they're all on time.
All right.
I don't think they have,
Andy, do you have anything that you want to add for today's meeting?
Nothing,
Okay.
thank you.
Then I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. See you all on the 18th.
Okay.